Hey, what's up, fellas? Do you feel like you're carrying the past with you? Do you feel like the past keeps catching up with you as you're trying to move forward and you're trying to change your life, you're trying to succeed in whatever way that looks to you, and you just keep getting dragged back into these old emotional states, and the overwhelm and the overthinking and the fear, the worry, the procrastination, the lack of energy, all of these things that you seem to just get dragged down in towards, right? For thousands of years, in cultures all around the world, men have gone on a hero's journey. They've transitioned from boyhood to manhood. Okay, it was a very necessary process for the men to go through in order for the village or the tribe, the society, to run effectively and healthily. Okay, now in today's world, we tend to kind of flip-flop from boyhood into adulthood, if you want to call it adulthood, without anything to support us really. At least in my culture, it was just about going out and getting drunk. Now, I'm not against that, but we live in a culture that doesn't understand trauma, doesn't understand healing, and so everything that we've accumulated throughout our childhood we carry through into adulthood because we haven't been taught how to let it go, how to release all our baggage, and then we're walking around as kids in an adult body, essentially. Now, we all have our wounds. Doesn't matter how big and powerful you might look on the outside, you can't run away from what's in here, and we all have it, and we don't want to shame it. If you catch yourself judging other people, you're giving yourself a good indicator as to the relationship you have with yourself. And the more you're judging others, the more you're judging yourself. What it means is that the character that you're choosing to play through life is really just chosen so not to feel shame. It's quite a big one to take on, that, right? But just take a look at it yourself, right? If you're shaming other people in your head for being a certain way, then you're going to shame yourself if you became that way yourself. And you might say, well, yeah, but I just wouldn't be like that person. Sure, because you're now living your life as an adult, trying not to feel shame by playing this character as who you are, so you don't have to feel the shame if you become like the person that you're being judgmental towards. This is the shadow, and it's really like seeing how you react to other people will give you a good indicator to your relationship to yourself. And if the person that you're, or the character that you're playing right now through life, if that is chosen as an aversion to shame, an avoidance to shame, it means you've got shaky foundations. It means that if something gets taken away from you, if this thing that you've built in your life, this character, and also the things around you, maybe the nice house, car, job, whatever it is, if that's all done to not feel the shame of not having that, if that gets taken away, if you get ill health or whatever, you're going to struggle, because you're going to start feeling the shame and all the heavy emotions that you're avoiding by having all those things. So going back to this initiation into manhood, essentially what it was like back in the day, you can look up the different things that were expected, and I'm sure you've seen some of them on the TV and on documentaries, and it could range from like putting your hand in an old tree that's full of bees or something crazy like that, but it can be like going out into the jungle alone for 30 days and 30 nights and learning to survive, because if he can't survive that, then he's not able to protect the village, he's not able to protect the tribe and the women and the kids. So essentially he's sort of like doesn't come back, right? It's quite extreme. But when you think about what that boy has to go through in order to transition into manhood, is that he needs to uncover how to provide safety for himself. Because when he was a boy, He got his safety from mum. He got his safety from potentially the men as well, but certainly from mum. So he needed mum there to encourage him and reassure him. Okay, now we can't rely on our mums to reassure us and encourage us as adults, but if we haven't done the proper healing work, then deep down we still might be looking for that. And not only will that get expressed in our relationships with our mums, but with all women. And that's why we become quite passive. That's why we, maybe if you were made to feel guilt for being a certain way around mum, now you find that you can't be that way around women in relationships because you're feeling guilt, right? These patterns express themselves in women in general. And I see it in pretty much everyone I know, including myself, right? So it's okay. And when I say I see it, I don't mean just necessarily the guilt, but all types of patterns that come up in relationships. And this is why being in a relationship can be very healing, because if you're willing to face these wounds and work on them together, then you can start accessing more love and your heart can open more, because you're releasing the attachments that are telling you can't be authentic in case it triggers the other person. And the truth is, if we trigger her emotionally and we're avoiding that, it's because her emotions trigger us. So there's that attachment to each other's internal state going on. So if you want to start creating a little transition into manhood yourself, like, I'm sure, not to say that you're not already a man, of course you are, you're a man now, but you're going to be carrying certain wounds from the past that's going to be drawing you back into your childhood emotionally, and you want to be able to get rid of that. You want to be able to heal that. And one of the best ways I know how is to start stepping into discomfort and start stepping into fear, like these boys in the jungle would have to do. But obviously we're not in the jungle now, we're in modern day world, but we can still start uncovering all of these ways that we feel uncomfortable, and then learn to provide that comfort for ourselves. Now, as a more practical way of explaining that, you basically step into something that you're afraid to do. You step towards something you're afraid to do, and your nervous system goes into fight or flight. You then learn how to regulate yourself from fight or flight into rest and digest. So you're going from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic part of your nervous system. And what that does is, when you learn how to control your inner state, now you're communicating to your unconscious mind that controls all of your emotions and your hormones, that like cortisol and adrenaline. So the unconscious that controls all of that. When you can regulate yourself and bring calm and bring a relaxed breath and start feeling grounded, it communicates to your unconscious, oh, this is safe, I can do this now. And now that new area in life opens up in which for you to explore. Breath work also is a massive help with this, because it will tap into the emotional residues that we've been holding since we were young, because we weren't taught how to emote and how to express. If you lived in England like I do, then these shame-based programming, it's very deep within our society, within our culture, is to not express emotions. And that doesn't mean don't cry, although that is one of them. There's all manner of different ways in which we're taught we should be, and ways that we're taught we shouldn't be, right? And what would happen if we stepped outside of that? Well, we feel shame. And shame is considered the heaviest of all the emotions. It's the most uncomfortable to feel. So we'll do what we can to avoid it, including playing a certain character that really has no bearing on who we are authentically, but it's just a means to avoid punishment and feeling shit. So it's pretty, I know for some people they might think that's quite heavy and dark to hear, but to me it's just, it's almost comical. Like, it just doesn't really bother me. I've faced the reality of that for long enough now to not have it bother me in any way. But I'm in a great opportunity to help other people with it. So yeah, you can go on your own hero's journey. Yeah, you don't have to carry all your baggage from the past. You've got the opportunity to heal it and release it. You want to start stepping into discomfort. You want to start literally bringing up fear in you. And then when the fear comes up, you want to be able to release it and bring your awareness back down into your body, away from your head. And now you're going to walk around more grounded. You're going to walk around more embodied, less overthinking, less emotional overwhelm, because your unconscious isn't so terrified that you're going to step into danger, because it doesn't see danger as much as it did. Now it sees opportunity. And so when you set yourself a goal to go and do something, rather than avoiding the fear because your unconscious is terrified of what might happen, now your unconscious is relaxed, and when you see something that's scary, rather than totally avoiding it, you can start stepping towards it and feeling more strong as you do. Yeah, it's follow for more. Put any questions in the description. I'm hosting a free workshop on Thursday, link will be in the description, and hope to see you soon.